start that over. Hey, you're watching Chillmonger. We got Kenny Sparks and we got Bluminati. In the description is where you can find their channels. A couple days ago, I was chatting about Perry White's casting. I viewed it as negative that Wendell Pierce was selected for the casting. Kenny had a little bit of disagreement, and so you guys know what I think about it. Go ahead and Kenny, tell us what you thought exactly about the casting.
The casting doesn't really impact me one way or another. I think it's a good casting because he's a good actor. And Perry White has been black before in other iterations. I don't think Perry White is one of those characters where if you change their race, that it actually impacts the story whatsoever. I do have a distinction where characters' races are changed, where it's pivotal to their culture and who they are. So if you're changing Shang-Chi to like white or black, I'm like, hey, he's got a whole culture behind him that means something. But Perry White is just some white dude who runs a news station, so or newspaper station. So that's pretty much my opinion on it.
Oh, I don't like the way Blue kind of nodded his head. Like, does that mean he's
No,
on that opinion?
I used to have that same stance. I'm kind of on that stance as well. Because, like I said, I used to have that stance. I'm looking at how DC does it. Chill, you always say this. You always say, hey, they'll go back to status quo, right?
Yes.
I think DC is saying Perry is black on TV screens. I think Perry's been black on TV. He's been black. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's black on there. I can't remember. You talking about just the one that just came out on CW?
Yeah, the one happening now.
Yeah, I think he's black on there.
Okay.
I could be wrong. But I think he's black. I think they're trying. I think that because Morpheus has played. Morpheus played him in Man of Steel.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I think they're saying that they're going to separate the TV movie world from the comic book world.
No, it's a white guy named Paul Jarrett. Sorry.
Is it a white guy?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I could, I stand corrected.
And my challenge to Chillmonger's philosophy has always been you can do both. I know that there's correct me if I'm wrong on what you believe, Bob. I know that you believe that there is a kind of like a checks and balances where you can't have too many black characters. So if we're going to make this character black, we're not going to support one of the originally black characters. My solution to that isn't to make sure that we change all of them back to all the race swap characters back to their original race. My solution to that is, hey, why don't you also put some money to the original black characters as well? Like build them both up if you even want to, because I don't think you need to race swap. But if you do, fine. But if you do, don't have that as your checked off diversity, right?
But it's literally what's happening.
I know that's what's happening.
And it's robbing away the check. You're saying do both.
Yeah.
They're saying no, we're doing enough because we have a black casting. So that now that it's satisfied, I'm looking at it like that costs the studio, that cost the viewers
the black check, whatever black check
black
they needed to check off.
So we did that race. Let's go do Indian.
Right.
Like.
So my challenge to my challenge
go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead. No, you good, Kenny. Go ahead.
Yeah, and my challenge to the studio isn't like stop like doing this and not doing that. My challenge to the studio is why do you think there can only be one black character? Like why do you think that you can't do this and that?
Like, why can't they tolerate? Why is their tolerance level so low?
Exactly. My challenge. That's a good way to put it.
Okay, but they are that low, and it's the world we live in. So I don't want to celebrate the Wendell Pierce castings. I want to vote against it. I want to say no, that's not the representation that's needed, especially when it's temporary. What it does is it takes away from the finite resource. That's one thing that it does that's bad, and it never lasts, which is another thing that's bad. Imagine the heartbreak of someone who really liked Perry White and identified as Perry White, and then they go watch Superman Lois, and it's the Jarrett guy, the guy I just found. And imagine if they, a couple years later, the kid who watched that grows up and now he's watching Superman. And he's like, what? Oh, the newspaper guy isn't black anymore? Damn, I felt represented by that one. And now that was taken away from me. Why offer a heartbreak? Same thing with The Little Mermaid. Why give Halle Bailey to all these girls who think that's what Little Mermaid looks like? Then they're on Disney Plus surfing for the animated movie. And they go, huh? Who the hell is this Ariel girl that doesn't look like Halle Bailey? Why? And they get robbed of that representation. Provide only the everlasting version and have no castings that go to white characters.
This to me falls in line with the argument that of people who say like you ruined my childhood. I don't believe in that philosophy. The philosophy of if you change something,
if you believe in it. If I interrupting you, go ahead.
Yeah, if someone feels that way, like, oh, you changed this, it's ruining my childhood. Listen, grown adult human being, if you enjoy that part of it, go enjoy that part of it. Like it didn't go away because it was represented differently somewhere else. You are a grown adult with the ability to regulate your emotions. Just because this is different and has come to fruition in a different way does not mean that what you enjoyed in the past is no longer like accredited. Like if you like what you like, enjoy what you enjoy, right? I don't have that level of like I would have that level of sympathy if you changed T'Challa to white because I hate when people bring that up because it's so stupid because of how much cultural stuff is behind it, right? But I would have that sympathy if that was the case, but I don't have that sympathy if it's just something as minuscule as changing Perry White. Like you've had Perry White for how long, and you want to cry to me about this new, different Perry White, nigga? Excuse me, person of African descent. You have had Perry White be this way for how many years? Go enjoy that, right? So I don't have that level of and another thing that you were saying, and I'll make this quick because I've been talking for too long. Was that it gives credit or credence, ammunition to racists. I don't care what racists think. Like when it comes to my level of enjoyment and what I choose to engage with, how racists feel about it will never enter the conversation of whether or not I choose to enjoy it. They will never have that much power over me. Like that's not going to happen. So when you talk about, oh, it's going to give ammunition to them, I don't talk to people who start off on the basis of like nonsense. Like I don't entertain that. So I'm not going to entertain their concerns. Like that's not anywhere in my sphere of concern. They will never have that much power over me. So
a lot of your answers are
like that. I don't. I'm sorry, Chill, but that you got you. I got you. But to piggyback off of what Kenny, I think both sides are true. I think Chill, your points are valid, and I think Kenny points are valid. Just depending on which way you're coming from. Perry White, because at the end of the day, they could kill Perry White off and Superman will still be Superman. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, Perry White really serves his purpose that he serves with Superman is not of really, it's not as integral as, you know what I'm saying, like a Lois Lane or somebody like that. Who Perry White, we can go 50 issues and never see Perry White.
That's
right?
True.
We can have a whole movie. Perry White doesn't even have to be in the movie. And he can still be working at the planet, still never see Perry White. It could just be a voice. You see, at the end of the day, I think that's what Kenny's saying. At the end of the day, who the fuck cares about Perry White? But Chill, you're saying that Perry White is a character and he is white because that's how he first came out. He's white. Once you change him, are you changing him? Is this change going to be permanent or is it going to go back status quo? And am I losing a casting or a representation piece because you made Perry black?
Yeah,
right.
Because,
and I think
this is the tolerance meter. This is the tolerance meter.
Yeah,
when it gets too high, they go, oh no, we got to do a black casting or the pressure's coming. And then there's boom, let's cast somebody black. And we relieved it. And then that's the tolerance. And I hate that what's being relieved is the Wendell Pierce.
I think both things are true though. I just think both things is true. That's it.
Yeah.
Both things are true.
My thing wouldn't be to necessarily like play by the rules or like play by their rules. It would be to challenge the rule. Like this rule is stupid to begin with. So let's talk about the rule first. Keep Wendell Pierce employed and having his paycheck, but also where is Virgil Hawkins? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I
think can't get Virgil Hawkins. Perry White, we're already doing enough black, okay there, Kenny? So chill out on that. That's what I'm talking about. The demand is being satisfied with the Wendell Pierce casting.
Yeah. And I think I know we're kind of going like in circles.
I'll bring it back to the racist. Don't worry.
Yeah. But my challenge to that is why, and I hope you don't take this wrong. why kowtow to the people who are setting that status quo instead of saying,
I'm with that.
No, don't do that. Like, just how many shows have we seen where it's the one black friend? Or if they do have two black people, it's one black girl and one black guy, right? It's like there's never more than that. So my thing is, hey, what about 3 black people? Because there's more than 3 black people.
I care more about the lead. If the show is a white guy lead, then that's a white guy show. And no matter how many black friends you put in there, I'm not swayed by it. I really don't care about the black friend that much.
It's not that, like, I would rather challenge that status quo. And even if the white guy is the lead, I still want to challenge. I want to challenge the status quo everywhere, right? Unless you're in the middle of Utah, like if you're set in New York, like Friends was, and you have the Central Perk, and it's like no black people. It's like, what are you doing? Where are the black people? You know what I mean?
And it's not one
race.
Yeah, because even, and not to cut you off, Kenny, but even let's say it was a black lead, right? And after watching American Fiction and listening to the video you just did on how we said, you know what I'm saying, it's different ways that black people live in this country and things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? Black lead, what if this black person has white friends? Are you not worried? You know what I'm saying? Like how many, so what's the check box for the white side? Is there a check box for the white side? I think that's what Kenny's saying. We need to take whatever that status quo is and throw that shit out the window, and we're going to make this as realistic as possible. You know what I'm saying? Or how represent New York City. Shit, what matter of fact, you in Toronto, right, Chill?
Yeah.
What does Toronto look like?
It's pretty mixed.
Pretty mixed. So if I'm doing a show in Toronto, it should be pretty mixed. It should represent where this place, you know what I'm saying, how it takes place in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you can do a show in Toronto focusing on a white guy lead. And I would understand if the white guy lead also has a white guy best friend. And I'm not going to look at it like my supporting cast isn't diversity. Whoa. And I don't look at it that way. I always care about the leads.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if he does,
what are you saying? You're saying that the policeman over there's got to be from another. When they're walking down the sidewalk, we got to make sure that there's an Asian that's walking past. I don't think that way. I don't think about when they go to the restaurant, the server.
What I'm saying is because most movies, it's not just one lead; it's co-leads in a movie. You know what I'm saying? It's
most
normally
movies has one lead. No. Ensemble cast movies,
it's always,
even those have a lead.
Always there's co-leads. There's co-leads. A lot of movies have co-leads.
Not everything is Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
No, it's not. But even with Mr. and Mrs. Smith, right? 2 prominent actors, they was both white, right? You're saying that the black person in that show is just the tokenized black who just shows up, who knows.
No, you can cast whatever you want to do because Mr. and Mrs. Smith is an original screenplay. It's not based off of comic book characters, right? So I'm not looking at it sideways at all.
You're saying established in an established world. That's what you're saying?
No, I was only trying to show you the difference of what I think. If Mr. and Mrs. Smith had an all-white cast, like Oppenheimer has an all-white cast. That's that bad example. That's because that's based on real life. Like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I don't remember what the background characters were. I don't know if Lawrence Fishburne was cast in that. I don't know. But I look at it like, was he?
No, he wasn't.
But I look at it like that was a white movie because the 2 leads were white. And I'm not seeking representation there in the background and no matter how good this casting director was at making sure that whenever they interacted with another person, they had dark skin. I don't care. I think it's stupid I think it's less meaningful to look for supporting cast characters. Now, there are times, let me just to battle myself. We were celebrating when Rocky, Carl Weathers, when Carl Weathers died, we remembered, man, it was so great because he was in 4 Rocky movies. He was a really important character in the franchise, which he was. But not every franchise is the Rocky franchise and has those legs and has the amplification. Being a supporting character in the Avengers movies is a lot more meaningful than being a lead character in a movie that makes $10 million. I understand that. So that's, I guess I'm just trying to talk to myself and try to combat myself when I say that. I understand Chill saying that there's only 5 spots for black characters, so don't waste it. But the problem is we should be fighting for not just having limited spots, like Kenny is saying, and both of these opinions are my opinion. Fighting for more, but also don't waste the finite spots on a white character because it'll return to white. Like if that keeps happening, we're gonna look around and say, where are all the black characters? Where are all the melanated characters in pop culture, the popular ones? Why in the superhero genre is it still Superman and Batman and Spider-Man, Hulk, and them guys? Well, it's because when Black Panther happened, they killed him and they didn't use him. It's because they gave Wonder Man to Yahya Abdul-Mateen. It's because where's the Polynesian superheroes out there? Well, they did. Jason Momoa played Aquaman, but Aquaman is going to be a white guy the next time around when James Gunn redoes.
That's a fantastic question you asking that. Where are the black prominent characters, right? We have to make sure that those characters have the legs that they need to have. Like we got to do that work. Night Thrasher just came, right? Waiting on the second issue. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure Night Thrasher does what it do. You know what I'm saying? Even if on the comics side it doesn't boast as a comic. Let's say fan fiction or just in the zeitgeist in the world of us talking about a Night Thrasher. And I'm just using Night Thrasher as an example. But if we come out and we just talk, about Night Thrasher and that shit starts trending, and we got to keep that name, Night Thrasher, Spawns, Blades, you know what I'm saying, Green Lanterns. We got to keep these people. No, John Stewart. I'm just saying. Yeah, look, to me, John Stewart is Green Lantern to me. That's just, you know what I'm saying. But either way,
the Justice League cartoon.
I'm good. Either way, we have to keep these characters' names in people's mouths. We got to make sure that they are being used. Blue Marvel came out, dope story, disappeared for a long time. Right? Disappeared. Why hasn't Adam Brashear been used as much as he should have been used? They got a dumbass Century storyline going on right now. You know what I'm saying?
I just watched Thinking Critical do a video on that. Yeah.
I haven't seen it. What's the Century story?
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Check it out.
It's not worth it. It's dumb. It's stupid. It ended stupid. It ended dumb. It's just.
And the character is going nowhere, just like every other Marvel's Voices tier level of character. It's like, okay, we created a version of this character, and this is what he looks like. She looks like. Enjoy, guys. We did it. We're doing diversity.
That goes to what Kenny is saying. I'm tired of them pandering. Don't pander to me. You see what I'm saying? Don't pander to me. Don't just give me something and say, all right, we did it, and then, keep moving on. I need you to put
but that's the thing, though. They're in on these conversations on Twitter when Kenny says what he says about racist and integral to Perry White and all that stuff. And they see that and they go, yeah, we are doing enough, because this conversation, people are defending it, and the ones who are defending it are the diversity advocates like Kenny and like other people on Twitter. So therefore, we are accomplishing our representation, and it's not lasting.
Still, the creators that they have writing or in there. So a lot of, especially the Marvel Now and the
all new, all different,
a lot of those creators they would self-insert themselves into these characters. Cool, I'm cool with that. That's fine. But the character wouldn't work. You know what I'm saying? Because you're supposed to be making a superhero book, and instead you're making. What's the Spider-Man with the crippled Spider-Man? Like, where does a crippled Spider-Man work in a superhero book? Just show me that. Professor X works because of the situation that he's in. He stays in the X mansion. He runs, you know what I'm saying? He runs it he's like Oracle, you know what I'm saying? And that's a swinging Spider-Man with the walking sticks that shoot webs out, carrying a wheelchair on the back. Who you fighting?
It seems complicated. That's a lot.
Right.
To leave my house and fight crime. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so
yeah.
So yeah, we got the disabled person represented, but it goes back to chill. Like, but you already got disabled people that you can use. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't have to create a new disabled person that really makes no sense in the story to begin with.
If every time DC, go ahead. So what?
No, chill. I was done. Go ahead.
If every time DC wanted to do Black empowerment and they used the same character, then year after year, eventually the familiarity would have grown for this character, Mr. Terrific, let's say. And by the time by the time it's time to do a movie of Mr. Terrific, the people have warmed up to Mr. Terrific. Oh yeah, that's old Mr. Terrific over there. What's his real name? Jefferson Pierce? No, that's not his name. That's Black Lightning.
No,
what's his name? Michael Colts?
Yeah.
Michael Holtz. So every time we see old Michael, oh yeah, that's Mike. I remember I seen him in the cartoon, and then he was then again in Justice League. He was featured on that guy because every time DC wanted to do black, they did that. And every time I read a comic book and they go, "Oh, we're too white," and they did Mr. Terrific, then that concentrated effort would have made Mr. Terrific viable for a movie. And then when James Gunn comes out and he says, "Hey, Chapter 1 is gonna have Superman Legacy, Supergirl, Swamp Thing," and then he says, and then in 2028. A Mr. Terrific movie, we're gonna go, oh, duh, Mr. Terrific, he's terrific. But when we do things like Perry White's gonna be our black representation here, and we need something black in Batman, what do we do? Like.
But the thing that I'm saying is exactly what James Gunn is doing. Perry White's black, and look, here's Mr. Terrific.
Mm-hmm. I would say that the Perry White, the percentage of tolerance given, a black tolerance, if Perry White was a white character, then they would have looked more at Mr. Terrific like, yo, shit, we're being too racist, we're being too white. Let's give Mr. Terrific an extra line. Let's make sure Mr. Terrific does something cool. They talk to the VFX guys. You guys better make sure Mr. Terrific has a better outing because we're gonna be labeled as being too white. I think that when you waste it on a white character like Perry White, it's a black casting. When you waste it on that, then it's opportunity and light that could have gone
black. Who else is black in the Superman franchise?
Yeah, I'm not looking for black representation in the Superman franchise. No one is. But when they're at the Watchtower, we're going to see Mr. Terrific.
What I'm saying is, so I don't see them making Perry as a waste because there's nobody black in the Superman franchise.
I see it as a waste because James Gunn is doing 5 movies. I see it as a waste because James Gunn is going to do many movies and TV shows during his franchise. And eventually that tolerance, that black fulfillment is that on the meter, like in a video game meter, it's gonna get. It's not per movie; it's a per studio thing that I'm looking at. I'm looking at. Well, they need to stop looking at it for per movie, and they got to think about Superman's gonna be a white movie. But when we do too many of these white movies, we're not satisfying the black. It's getting high. Oh no, I'm almost a racist. Okay. Static movie.
I don't think I really heard that much, or at least in my circles, because I was young.
I'm being serious too, Blue. That is how I think that's how I think it feels like.
Go ahead, Kenny. Go ahead.
Like towards the end of the Avengers run, like the Infinity Saga, towards the end is when I heard, "Hey, man, there's really not a lot of black characters." So I really don't think a lot of people I don't say there are a lot of people don't point out that there's a lack of black characters. But I think when we look at the white characters, or the Avengers who are white mostly anyway, I'd never think that we're like, oh, like there's a lack of black characters. I think the question is, where is Black Panther? Like,
meaningful representation. So when Thor, Cap, and Iron Man, after the headquarters was blown up, when they looked over at Thanos, let's kill him properly this time. Remember that when Thor said that line? Now, if it was Iron Man, Cap, and Black Panther, and instead of a Thor movie in 2011, it was a movie about Black Panther, and he got a sequel in 2014, and his third movie came in 2017, and it was Cap, Iron Man, and Black Panther. Looking off into that, we wouldn't be, people who's saying there's not enough black characters in here. No, a top 3 character in the franchise of this huge thing is a black character. You are fulfilling your black fulfillments. I would never complain Marvel's not doing enough black. I would go like, this is freaking life-changing exemplary work that everyone needs to take a lesson from, because it's way more important to me to have a meaningful representative than to have multiple representatives. Enemy of representation is quantity.
No, I agree with that. I think you want quality representation. I agree with that. But like I said, I think 2 things can be done. I don't want just give me the quality and let me look over in the crowd and see some black faces.
Sure, but if the crowd of faces is supposed to have Perry White, which is a white guy, then I don't want that. Because also, Kenny, I'm not going to explain that because I think I said the enemy of representation is quantity at the end of my statement. I thought the statement was all there. That was like my tagline. But because, Kenny, white people who have ill intentions and are hateful and racist are going to say, we're being replaced. Now, even though Kenny doesn't value their opinion, we share a world with them. And if they can have valid arguments to call to their racist callings and get super chats directed to their YouTube channels and have a community of hateful people who just inherently hate anyone with that melanin thing in their skin. If they have ammunition, then we are providing the opposite of what representation is supposed to be providing. The inclusion, the welcomeness, the love and everything. Hi, Pam. We're supposed to have representation fix hate. You know, white people are supposed to go to these movies and love, not go to these movies and go, bro, what the fuck is wrong with being a white man? Why am I all of the time people who look like me or like the mermaids who look like me getting replaced? There's nothing wrong with the way I am, and I feel I'm under attack. And then I hear this guy over here on this channel talking about how we're under attack, we're being replaced. You know, we are being replaced technically, because I saw that movie. And then he has like another movie to add to his repertoire of his hate speech when he's talking about Perry White. And I'm like, yeah, you do. That's all. It's a problem. It incites replacement theory.
I still stand by my
correction of a situation too.
Mhm.
That's I think. What's up?
Let Kenny go, because that was directed at him.
My bad.
So I still stand by my philosophy, if you will, that I do not care what they think. And here's the reason, right? No matter
but I'm not talking about what they think. So whatever direction you go, I'm just saying that more racists will be created from this. It's not about what they think. It's about
racists are going to be here. Like you said, we share a world with them. They're not going anywhere.
I would like there to be less of them.
A reason to hate, no matter what happens.
So I was not speaking about the guys who are already racist. I was speaking about the guys who could be swayed, and this is ammunition to sway that person who's just not even thinking about race.
They are not.
To me, ain't no swaying. If you get swayed to being racist, you was racist from the start. That's how I look.
No, everybody gets swayed. I'm not talking about like a 50-year-old. I think you made your mind if you're 50, but like
as a kid, chill. You run around with who is fun to run around with. As a child, me, I traveled the world as a kid. I was around white people. I was around Hawaiians. I was around a lot of people as a kid. Okay. I didn't give a damn what your skin color look like. Dude, you got this. You got the new bike. You got the new game. You got this. We playing. We kicking it. Right.
This is where kids live now.
They do, and it's a lot of melanated people on there. So if you get swayed to being a racist, you was racist from the jump. To me, that's to me. If you can be swayed to do some evil shit, that shit is in your blood. That's how I look at it. It ain't I woke up one day and I just wanted to murder somebody. Nah, that was permeating already. Okay. It was already, you know what I'm saying? That was already going up. Because racism isn't a crime of passion. You didn't just get so mad and I just hate black. You know what I'm saying? That's not that. That's constant thinking, constant thought. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go to work and the dude who don't look like you was getting on your nerve. It's constantly. This dude could just be showing up doing his job, but everything that he does gets on your nerves. You see what I'm saying? Then it's like, I can't stand him, his mama, his daddy, who looks, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody, that's what it is. So if you swayed, then it was in you. You know what I'm saying? Look, we all get, the thing is, I think we all get taught about differences in people. So I agree with Second Street Mark, but at the same time, yes, racism is taught and learned, but it's, to me, it's more than just being taught and learned. It's like that is in you, because I learned about racism and what happened in the past all day long. That don't make me want to go and slap the white person, you know what I'm saying, to stay next door to me.
Yeah.
What about the Hawaiian person?
I grew up in a church that did not respect. I grew up in a church that did not respect the LGBTQI community. I don't believe that no more. That's my responsibility to make sure I don't believe what they used to teach. I am not responsible for these grown. I'm not going to curse on your platform. I'm not responsible for these grown men.
Yeah.
And what they believe. And last thing, I'll be damned if I take money out of Wendell Pierce's hand because someone might be racist. Like
we can cast Wendell Pierce in a role that is not Perry White. I'm not anti Wendell Pierce casting.
No, and I hear you, but I'm not going to say, hey, no, you can't have that job because somebody might be racist. Sir, what? No. I'm not looking at you. We can
say, sorry, Wendell, we will not cast you as that, or we wouldn't have even offered him the audition, because when this happens and you take that role because you do win the audition and you win the role, then racist ass people are going to have ammunition to call. I'm repeating myself, but yes, this will create more hateful people Not from the ones who've already decided, guys. Not from the ones who they fixed their mind because they're ready to hate, but from the guys who are just, I'm noticing a list of times that someone's white and they get pulled for black. Is that what representation and diversity means?
Okay,
When people say equality, do they mean less whites? This doesn't make me feel very well.
So with that thinking, how many tolerant people are created with that casting?
How many tolerant people are created by the casting?
Yeah. How many white folks is looking at Wendell Pierce getting that role and saying, you know what? He does make a good pair, but he makes a good pair of white. How many white folks looking at that casting saying, I like Wendell Pierce from The Wire. I like them from playing in Suits. I like them. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a dope actor and I think he can pull off pair of white. I'm with it. So now they're more tolerant. So how many?
Right. I'm not even thinking about that.
See, but it's a double-edged sword.
No, it's not, because the Wendell Pierce casting, and he can do a great role doing anything in that movie to get the white person to go, I really like Wendell Pierce. It didn't have to be Perry White.
But your concentration is on making Wendell Pierce a black character. I'm cool with that, right? But the way that you are substantiating that claim is by saying that it's going to make more racist, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I say. I also say that there's no pride in that black character, Perry White, that black version of the character, because again and again it'll return to being white. Yeah, so I'm saying both. I'm saying that it's going to be temporary. Now, on the off chance that it is permanent, okay, the people who are fearful that we're being replaced, the hateful racists, they now have a legitimate criticism. I'm saying that it's a lose-lose situation, and if white people go, I like Wendell Pierce, he's a great actor, this guy really changed my mind. If that happens with him playing Perry White, I'm only telling you Perry White could play a lot of other characters in the movie to provide that we love Perry White. We love Wendell Pierce.
But that's the other thing about people who look like Wendell Pierce, right? Who are bigger, rounder gentlemen. There ain't that many black characters who look like Wendell Pierce in the comics. Well, if you are a black superhero, you are a chiseled Adonis looking dude. There are no black Perry Whites in comics whatsoever. So essentially, if you don't look like, I don't know, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, you're not getting a role in any of these movies, because the only other people who are of normal figure are all white for the most part.
In the movie, though, they could have some guy who plays the general. In Man of Steel, there was like a military guy, and there's no reason why that guy couldn't have been a black actor. They could have made it up. It didn't have to be an actual comic book version of a general, because that's not a. I don't think Superman lore. I think we got we got Lois Lane, we got the important characters, and then just background characters. They could have just casted Wendell Pierce to be the general. There's ways that you could make a character that doesn't have comic book precedence, and you can even pick up the phone, James Gunn, and say, hey, yo, comic book people, Jim Lee, go create a character that looks just like Wendell Pierce. I'm going to put him in my movie. It's coming out in 2 years. So you guys do a comic books. You can do that in 3 months. So make sure that in the next version of Action Comics, in the next issue, that there's going to be this guy who's fat and he's black, because I was watching the stream and Kenny said that no one looks like this. So we gotta hold it down, and then he'll be in my movie. Boom. It takes a little bit of effort. Or you don't even have to make the phone call. Just in your casting in the movie, you can provide a role that looks like Wendell Pierce.
I mean, like I said, Chill, I think I don't disagree with you. I just think that both things can be true. That's all. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think your points are valid. I think, hey, Wendell, we got this role for you. It's a brand new character, or it's a character. He's not the most prominent guy, but he's got some good screen time. You know what I'm saying? He interacts with either Lois or Clark or whatever, or even Superman at one point in time, things like that. I totally agree. And then I agree with what Kenny said. Like, he can come in and do this thing with that when it comes to playing Perry White. Because I think Perry, who at the end of the day, who gives is there a Perry White comic? Now, Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, maybe there might be.
Could be.
I don't think it is, but Jimmy Olsen to me is the better example of the change. Jimmy Olsen has actual comics, actual lore with being Superman's pal and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So changing Jimmy Olsen to black is what they did in the Supergirl series and in the Superman anime that came out last year. I could see more of an uproar for that because Jimmy Olsen's gonna go back to being what is he? The redhead freckled Superman. You know what I'm saying? Superman's power or whatever. He's gonna go back to that one way or the other because of the actual lore. Because they can do Action Comics tomorrow, and Perry White can show up black. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think anybody would bat an eye. Hell, I thought Lex Luthor was black in the damn Superman animated series. He was, you know what I'm saying?
He was black. He was black.
Were you let down when you saw that Lex Luthor wasn't black later on, Kenny?
No, because I grew up with that.
So yes, I think he's black. Like, in the Justice League cartoon, you can't convince me he's not black.
He's black.
But you know, outside of that, you got Gene Hackman. Okay, cool.
Right.
Gene Hackman being a white Lex Luthor and what's his name?
Buddy from Smallville.
Eisen. Yeah. I don't know.
Rosenberg. Whatever. Michael Rosenberg, I think is his name.
Also, let me say this last point, and I promise this is my last point.
Yeah.
I view literally every iteration of a comic book thing, whether it's cartoon, comic book, Ultimate Universe, you know, whatever. I view them all as completely separate multiversal iterations. So you can have this thing with Tom Holland where Uncle Ben's not even really mentioned, really. I mean, he is once or twice, but it's really Aunt May, and she dies and takes that, you know what I mean? Like, great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
This is going along my point of, that's not going to impact how I enjoyed, what's that man's name? The previous Spider-Man. That's not going to impact how I enjoy that. Also, the first comic book I ever read, which is actually right over my shoulder here, is What If Kraven the Hunter Had Killed Spider-Man, right? My first comic book I ever read was a What If comic. Everything to me is a multiverse. Like, all of it. I view them all as separate iterations. Like, so my entire entry into comics is, and not to mention that, my first entry into comic book characters, period, was the Fox 29 cartoons with Spider-Man and X-Men. And then you read a X-Men comic book and they are night and day from what's happening, right? Yeah. Or their iterations, or how they act, or even how they look. So everything to me is a multiverse.
Again, with your personal experience is what you're like basing everything on. I'm just looking at it like generally long term and to the wide masses. I'm really happy that Cyborg is always going to be a black character, as well as Static, as well as Sam Wilson, as well as, you know, everybody.
See, I say concentrate on the black characters. To me, Perry White just holds no weight. You know what I'm saying? In anything for me, concentrate on Static. Make sure Static gets all the love in the world. If Static comes out when this Mr. Terrific film drops, make sure he gets all the love in the world. You see what I'm saying? So it can be, like you said, the money, the marketing and everything can be given to that. You see what I'm saying? Then we don't even have to. Who gives a fuck about Wendell Pierce playing Perry White? All I care about is dude playing Mr. Terrific and making sure that he gets the shine and the light to go for. Like you said, going into the future, make sure Mr. Terrific gets it all. Make sure Icon, Rocket, Static, all of them get the shine that they need.
Wait, slow down. Focus on one guy. Focus on making one guy a success as opposed to making sure Icon, Rocket.
I'm just saying, like, because there is gonna, if Mr. Terrific, this how Hollywood works is if Mr. Terrific works, it's going to be another black film.
Yeah. Make film. Mr. Terrific work before you go, okay, we're going to do Icon Static. No. Hold on a minute. I want a successful black character. Like, can I talk blue?
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Because I lost my train of thought. But look, if we do Icon and Rocket, which is one franchise, Static, and there's Mr. Terrific, then I'll realize that the black movie of the year in 2028 was for one of these guys. The black movie 2029 was one of these guys. The black movie 2030 was one of these guys. I'd rather have one black character get a trilogy of movies. He's on the level of Batman. You know how Batman gets trilogies? So does this guy, Mr. Terrific. Just select one of these guys to become that top tier rather than spreading it and diluting the effectiveness.
I get that. I get that. I agree with that. What I was stating was I wasn't saying like drop them all at once and let them have free fall. No, I was just saying like if Terrific has a run, they're gonna look for the next Black franchise that they can make a run. The thing about Marvel is
just like when Black Panther was successful, now we're looking for the next one, and I'm saying go with Storm. And if that's really successful and hot and profitable, then there's no reason why a third franchise, Photon, could have her, go at it.
Because see what you're describing, Chill, is exactly what Marvel did. They tried to hit every representation that they could. The Eternals had the she was deaf, you know what I'm saying? Echo, deaf and disabled with the leg. You know what I'm saying? They try to hit every box instead of, like you said, let's get Black Panther to 3. Let's get him to 3. Or that, I can't even say get him. Let's get this franchise to 3. You know what I'm saying? Before we start branching out into other boxes that need to be checked.
I'm done with the stream because I do gotta be somewhere right now. Thanks everyone for popping in. Sub to Kenny Sparks, sub to Blue, and leave a comment, please. Thanks everyone for jumping in, especially Fahim and William, who says Daredevil is disabled. Yeah, he was disabled. That's true.
Yeah, disabled.